Alcatraz. The name itself evokes images of impenetrable walls, unforgiving rules, and the most notorious criminals in American history. It stands as a symbol of isolation and punishment. This small island, shrouded in mist and legend, sits just a mile and a half from the bustling streets of San Francisco, yet it feels like a world apart, a place where myths and reality intertwine. But despite its proximity to the mainland, Alcatraz was a world away, a place where the worst of the worst were sent to be forgotten. Its isolation was both physical and psychological. The island's history as a place of confinement began long before it became a federal penitentiary. It has always been a place of exile and punishment. In the 1850s, the U.S. Army recognized the island's strategic importance and constructed a fortress on its windswept shores. This marked the beginning of its long history as a place of confinement. The prison's forbidding reputation began here, with the arrival of Civil War prisoners. These early inmates experienced the harsh conditions that would become synonymous with Alcatraz. The cold, damp cells and the watchful eyes of the guards served as a stark warning to those who dared to challenge the Union. The island was a place of relentless vigilance and unyielding discipline. The island's isolation, once seen as a liability, would soon become its greatest asset. It was this very remoteness that made it the perfect location for a high-security prison. As the winds of change swept through the nation, the Army relinquished control of Alcatraz, and in 1934 it was reborn as a federal penitentiary. This transformation marked a new chapter in its storied history. The world was in the throes of the Great Depression, and a new breed of criminal, hardened and ruthless, had emerged. Men like Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and others became infamous. And Creepy Carpus, their names whispered in fear, became synonymous with an era of lawlessness and violence. They were the faces of a new kind of criminality. Their names whispered in fear became synonymous with an era of lawlessness and violence. The public demanded action, and the government responded. To combat this rising tide of crime, the government needed a solution as bold and uncompromising as the criminals it sought to contain. Alcatraz was chosen for its formidable reputation and strategic location. Alcatraz, with its cold, unforgiving walls and its reputation as an inescapable fortress, was the answer. It stood as a testament to the lengths the government would go to maintain order and security. The transformation of Alcatraz from military prison to maximum security federal penitentiary was swift and absolute. No expense was spared. No detail overlooked in the government's quest to create a facility that would house the nation's most incorrigible criminals. The existing structure underwent a massive overhaul, its bars and windows replaced with reinforced steel, its walls studded with gun towers manned by sharpshooters with orders to shoot to kill. Alcatraz was no longer a place of simple confinement. It was a fortress designed to break the will of even the most hardened criminal. The prison's location amplified its aura of invincibility. The bone-chilling waters of San Francisco Bay swirled around the island, their treacherous currents and frigid temperatures a constant reminder of the deadly stakes of escape. The message was clear. Escape from Alcatraz was not just improbable, it was impossible. The men who arrived at Alcatraz, shackled and grim-faced, were a who's who of the criminal underworld. Gangsters, murderers, kidnappers, and bank robbers, their rap sheets a testament to their ruthlessness and cunning, found themselves stripped of their notoriety and reduced to numbers within the prison's walls. Life inside Alcatraz was governed by a strict code of silence and obedience. Talking was forbidden except during meals and in the exercise yard, and even then, conversations were closely monitored by watchful guards. The slightest infraction, a whispered word, a sideways glance, could result in solitary confinement, a fate many inmates considered worse than death. The cell house at Alcatraz was a world unto itself, a labyrinth of cold, concrete, and steel that echoed with the clang of iron gates, creating an eerie symphony of confinement, and the muffled whispers of its inmates, whose voices carried tales of regret, anger, and longing. The cells, barely large enough to hold a cot, a toilet, and a small sink, were Spartan and unforgiving, stripped of any semblance of comfort or individuality. Each cell was a stark reminder of the harsh reality of their existence. The air, heavy with the stench of disinfectant and despair, was a constant reminder of the inmates' isolation from the world beyond the bars. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on their spirits, making each day a struggle. The routine at Alcatraz was designed to be both monotonous and oppressive, a relentless cycle that ground down the inmates' will. Each day followed the same rigid schedule, a relentless cycle of work, meals, and lockdowns. The predictability of their days offered no solace, only a reminder of their lost freedom. Inmates were assigned menial tasks, such as laundry duty or working in the prison's factory, their labor a poor substitute for the freedom they craved. These tasks, though mundane, were a small distraction from the monotony of their confinement. Meals, served in the echoing mess hall, were a brief respite from the isolation of their cells, but even here, the threat of violence hung heavy in the air. The tension was palpable, a constant undercurrent that kept everyone on edge. The guards, handpicked for their toughness and their unwavering adherence to the rules, were a constant presence, their eyes scanning the room for any sign of trouble. Their vigilance was both a deterrent and a reminder of the ever-present danger. Despite the prison's reputation for brutality, there were moments of unexpected humanity within its walls. Small acts of kindness, though rare, offered a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak existence. Warden James A. Johnston, a strict but fair man, believed in the importance of rehabilitation and implemented programs such as a library and music hour. His efforts were a testament to his belief that even the most hardened criminals deserved a chance at redemption. Inmates, starved for any form of intellectual stimulation or creative expression, embraced these opportunities with a fervor that surprised even the most hardened guards. The library and music hour became sanctuaries of normalcy in an otherwise abnormal world. The prison band, its members drawn from the ranks of murderers and thieves, became renowned for its musical talent, their performances a poignant reminder of the humanity that still flickered within even the darkest of souls. Music, in its purest form, became a bridge to their lost humanity. Their performances, filled with emotion and longing, resonated deeply within the prison walls, offering a brief escape from the harsh reality of their lives. It was a testament to the enduring spirit of the human soul, even in the most unforgiving of places. Among the many notorious criminals who called Alcatraz home, none was more infamous than Al Capone. His name alone evoked fear and respect in equal measure. Scarface, as he was known, was a legend of the underworld, his ruthlessness and business acumen making him a millionaire by the age of 26. His influence extended far beyond the criminal world, touching politics, business, and society at large. His reign of terror in Chicago, marked by bloody gang wars and brazen defiance of the law, made him a national celebrity, a symbol of the untouchable gangster. The public was both fascinated and horrified by his audacity. Capone arrived at Alcatraz in 1934, his empire crumbling around him, his health failing. The once mighty kingpin was now just another inmate, facing the harsh realities of prison life. The man who once controlled a vast criminal network from his luxurious suite at the Metropole Hotel found himself stripped of his power and prestige, reduced to just another number within the prison's walls. The opulence of his past life was a distant memory. His time at Alcatraz was marked by a series of humiliations both large and small. The isolation and strict regimen were a far cry from the freedom he once enjoyed. Denied access to the outside world, his every move monitored, Capone found himself a prisoner in every sense of the word. The walls of Alcatraz were inescapable both physically and mentally. The harsh realities of prison life, coupled with the debilitating effects of syphilis, took their toll on the once formidable gangster. His health deteriorated rapidly, and the medical care he received was minimal at best. His mind and body weakened, his spirit broken, Capone became a shadow of his former self. The vibrant, commanding presence he once had was replaced by a frail and confused man. The man who had once scoffed at the law, who had boasted that he owned the city of Chicago, was now a pathetic figure, reduced to begging for favors from the guards who once trembled at his name. His fall from grace was complete. Capone's time at Alcatraz is a stark reminder that even the most powerful men are not immune to the corrosive effects of confinement and the relentless march of time. His story serves as a cautionary tale of how power and influence can quickly fade away. The Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, were notorious bank robbers who found themselves imprisoned at Alcatraz in the early 1960s. Known for their cunning and resourcefulness, they quickly became infamous among the inmates and guards alike. Despite the island prison's reputation for being escape-proof, the Anglin brothers had other plans. Their story of determination and ingenuity is one that still fascinates many to this day. Were they successful in their daring escape attempt? Or did they meet a different fate? Well, let's dive deeper into their incredible journey. Planning an escape from Alcatraz was no small feat. The inmates had to be meticulous, resourceful, and incredibly patient. They used everyday items to craft their tools, and their ingenuity was nothing short of remarkable. The escape plan involved digging through the walls, creating lifelike dummies to fool the guards, and even constructing a raft from raincoats. It was a testament to human determination and the will to be free. On the night of June 11, 1962, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers put their plan into action. They crawled through the holes they had painstakingly dug, climbed up the utility corridor, and made their way to the roof. From there, they descended to the ground and set off on their makeshift raft. By the time the guards discovered their absence, the three men had vanished into the night, leaving behind only questions and speculation. Alcatraz has long stood as a symbol of crime and punishment. Its imposing structure and infamous inmates have captured the public's imagination for decades. The escape of Morris and the Anglin brothers only added to the mystique of the prison. It was a place where the most dangerous criminals were sent, yet even here, the human spirit found a way to challenge the boundaries set by society. Today, Alcatraz stands as a haunting reminder of the past. The prison is no longer in operation, but its walls echo with the stories of those who once lived there. Visitors from around the world come to walk the cell blocks and hear the tales of daring escapes and infamous inmates. Alcatraz remains a powerful symbol of both the harsh realities of incarceration and the enduring hope for freedom.